Okay, now I'm going to show the sequence of events in a trial. For this you use the task section and you need to give an identifier. I'm going to use the word Simon. First of all, you need to link the task to a table if you use a table. You do not necessarily need to use a table, but we do. So we actually use the same phrase as here, and I copy that in here. So table Simon condition. The next line specifies which keys of the keyboard are being used. We use the keys A and L corresponding to the numbers 1 and 2. Now we are going to show a bitmap. Show bitmap fix point. This is the real beginning of the trial from the perspective of the participant. Something appears on the screen. By default, a bitmap is presented in the center of the screen. So you do not need to specify the X and Y coordinate if you want to show it at screen center. Now we use the delay command to leave it in that position for say 200 milliseconds, and then we remove it from the screen with the clear command. We say clear 1. The 1 refers to the fact that show bitmap fixed point was the first shown stimulus. Now we're going to show the imperative stimulus, show bitmap at 2, at 3, 0. Now why do I use this? This needs some explanation. What you need to know is that on every trial that the computer runs through this, it takes one of the rows from the table at random. That can be any of these rows. Imagine it is the second row. Now then it tells the task the first element on this row is at 1, this is at 2, this is at 3, this is at 4. It is just a way of basically giving information from the table to the task. So show bitmap at 2, at 3, at 0 basically takes this information from the current table row. That's quite important to understand well. If you don't understand that, look at some of the other documentation, because this is a key element of how to work with SciToolkit. Now, the next thing is waiting for the response key. We use read key. We specify which key is the correct key. That again is from the current table row, the 4th column. And you need to say how long you want to wait maximally. We wait 2000 milliseconds. Okay. After that, we need to remove the imperative stimulus. So we say clear, and we use the number 2. 2 because this imperative stimulus, the arrow, was the second stimulus shown in this trial. Okay, now the stimuli have been shown, the responses have been given, or in this case just one response. Now we're going to test if the participant pressed the correct button. We use an if statement. If status not equals correct, then something is going to happen. Now note that I use the exclamation sign equal, which in computing stands for not equal to. So if the status of the read key is not correct, then something is going to happen. What's going to happen? Well, we say show a bitmap. And which bitmap? Well, of course, error feedback, so that the participant knows he or she made a mistake. We leave that message on screen for 500 milliseconds, and after that we remove it. So we could do clear 3 because this is the 3rd bitmap shown. Instead, I can also use -1, which actually removes the last stimulus shown. So that's just a different way to do it. And now we close the if block with fi. That's just basically saying, okay, this is the end of the if section. So these 3 lines only happen if this condition is true. So if the status is not correct, then we show this. But if the participant would have pressed the correct key, these 3 lines would not have been carried out. So now we're done. Let's add another 500 milliseconds so that there is some time between this trial and the next trial. And now there's only one thing to be done, and that is saving this information, the collected information in this trial, to the output data file. We use the save statement for that. Now what do we want to save? Well, we want to have this human readable information in a table, which of course is the first column of the table. Note that the column actually consists of 3 different words, but it matters that it is in quotes, so this is considered column 1. What else do we want to save? Well, we want to know whether the participant pressed the correct key, and we want to know what the response time was. So this probably would be sufficient. There's only one thing that might be interesting to you, and that is the name of the block name. And we will later see what that refers to. It is the training or the real block. Again, the order of these elements doesn't really matter. It really matters what you think is most easy to read in when you do your statistical analysis. What matters is that you save this information and save it, and that in the next video we are going to show how we can ask the computer to call this task, because so far what we have here would not be a runnable experiment. So the final thing to do is to show the instruction, call this task multiple times, and show a thank you message at the end.